Hi, on today's episode of the Comics Panel, we are talking with author and comic book creator Erik Arneson. Erik, welcome to the show, and thank you for talking with us today.
Andy's not here. What happened?
Andy's off on assignment.
Oh, that's right. We're going to get something good out of him, maybe.
Yep. Well, Erik, welcome to the show. I know, as we said, you're an author and a comic book creator. What got you into writing? How long have you been writing professionally, and what do you enjoy writing most?
What got me into writing, the first story I remember writing was I was in maybe first grade or second grade, and I wrote some story about King Kong for class, so...
Andy would like King Kong.
He's all over that.
Yeah, so that was the first thing, that was the first time I really knew that I was into writing. In college, I didn't quite, but I almost minored in journalism. Then I did a lot of freelance nonfiction writing. I worked for the Lebanon Daily News here in town for a while. So I've been writing for a long time. In terms of fiction, really it's only been about 4 years or so, and it's still at this point a little generous to say that I'm writing professionally. I've gotten paid for a number of different things, but it's a very, very small amount of money.
Very lucrative?
Right,
yes.
right. Yeah, I can buy pizza every now and then on the vast amounts of money I've
from
made.
From the value menu only, though, right? I see.
That works. Do you have a favorite author for novels that inspire you, and then do you have a favorite comic book artist or somebody that inspires you all the time to write?
Yeah, there's so many authors. I like crime fiction type stuff, and Lawrence Block, Elmore Leonard certainly are two of the all-time greats there. And among some maybe more, Lawrence Block is still writing great works, but some more contemporary folks. Dwayne Swarzynski is a favorite of mine who sort of crosses into both. He's written a lot of novels. He's also written a lot of comic books. He's written, right now he's writing The Black Hood for Dark Circle, which is, I think, just outstanding.
Very cool, very cool.
I was going to say, should I pick up that name you just dropped? Okay. So what currently brings you to our show? Is there some sort of book or something you'd like to plug?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I wrote a comic book called Fortune. It's a single shot crime story. I worked with an artist named Dylan Samuelson, who is from York, Pennsylvania. Young guy, just phenomenally talented, and we've put it out. It's available on Comixology, print copies through Indie Planet, and there's also, you can, if you just want to give it a shot, you can download a free PDF version from noisetrade.com. So
Sweet.
It's out on a number of different platforms.
How'd you meet your artist, and what attracted you to his style for your book?
Yeah, I've known Dylan for since he was 12, so at least 10 years now, I'm guessing. And we actually met through playing board games. His parents ran a small game store over in Lancaster County for a while, and I really enjoyed board games, so I got to know him through that. And then when I realized he was in college at the same time I was and studying art at the same time, I was interested in trying to write some comic books and see what I could do there. I reached out to him, and it worked out. He did the art for this. It was part of his sort of senior project at York College, and turned into, I think, some really cool art that really, the feel of it goes with the story.
It has that feel, like, no doubt. It's really good art. I do enjoy it. It flows with the story.
I'm sorry. Did you want to give the fans a little brief synopsis of what the Fortune is, and for them to go check it out?
So they can make money the same way.
Right. It's really a genius plan, and nothing can possibly go wrong with it. So, it's highly recommended. No, I used to work at a couple of restaurants, the Gap Diner and the Corn Crib, both in Lancaster County, and one of the jobs I had was to take the used French fry grease, the stuff from the deep fryer, take it out back and dump it into the barrels. And I always assumed that the restaurants then paid somebody to come take that away, just
Yep.
like they do garbage.
That's
Same
right.
here, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so I read an article somewhere, I can't quite remember now where it was, but the theft of this used grease was becoming a real problem. And it turns out through time it has gotten more valuable, but restaurants sell it now to people who turn it into biofuel or turn it into soap or turn it into whatever, but they can make a lot of products out of this stuff. So it's a very real problem in the industry of people stealing these grease barrels. You know, they just show up with box trucks and load them on and drive off, and there you go. So a couple of knuckleheads in my story here decided they'd make a few bucks doing that. And, you know, everything.
Well, who are they going to sell this gold to? This gold oil?
Sure. Yeah, the one guy has a contact who's sort of the middleman in this process.
It's like
and
a drug
so-
deal, huh? Got to get the middleman.
Exactly right, and that's sort of how they make it more legitimate too, right? Is the thieves take it from the restaurants, but then they sell it to this middleman. And then after that, the middleman obviously doesn't advertise, oh, hey, by the way, you know, this was stolen from a couple of restaurants in Lebanon County or wherever. They
Can never
just
trace
sell
it. That's the good part of the crime. Nobody can trace it. Hey, this is McDonald's oil. Wait, that
Exactly.
looks just like the Burger King oil.
Yeah, exactly. And even if they, I don't know if they do this or not, but even if they decided to get high tech and put trackers on the barrels, all you do is dump it into another barrel.
Right.
So,
They're dirt cheap. You go to a store, they're $5.
Right,
Nobody's
right.
going to follow you.
So if you can get away with it, apparently, you know, it can be worth the time.
So basically, this is a blueprint for everybody to start taking oil and selling it for profit.
Right, if you've got
So
a
buy
box
that.
truck just sort of sitting around doing nothing at all, and
U-Haul sells them.
you know,
You go
right?
U-Haul,
Yeah,
right?
just don't spill the grease on yourself, because I know from my
Nothing
time in the
else.
restaurant,
Oh, been there.
man.
it takes a long time for that smell to go away.
Oh, I thought you meant the healing when it's hot. Okay,
Well,
that smell, yeah.
Even when it's cold, you know.
So
Even
So
the
Dory-
cleaning it up once it's on the
Oh,
floor.
that's the
it takes
worst.
forever.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
So these heroes of ours, they probably have a lot of acne then.
yeah,
Yeah, because
yes.
it's kind of hard not
Yeah,
to.
yeah. First of all, they're young guys.
Oh, even
so,
worse.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
worse. My
And then,
teenage
yes,
years, that was
yeah.
the worst thing.
Young entrepreneurs.
Young entrepreneurs
Young
with pimples, and then they
entrepreneurs.
go after grease. It just sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, they're not. There's a little hint of this in the story, but they're not particularly successful in their romantic lives at this point. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so they have a lot of free time.
They do.
Lots and lots of free time.
They-
Definitely worthwhile checking it out.
Yes, it definitely you should. And if this creates a crime spree, let's hope this doesn't get back to you and they'll say you created the blueprint for this disaster to happen.
We don't recommend doing it. It's just a fantastic read.
Oh, okay. It's just fantastic. I thought we talked about it being a blueprint. Be a good blueprint. I was thinking we should start a business. We're not making money off this show. Thanks, Kurt. He's
Well,
taking all the funds.
Officially, I think it is probably not a good idea. There are better ways to make money.
Oh, true,
I'm
true.
confident of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Well, Kurt's yelling in my ear. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He said he won't take us out for ice cream now.
Eric, I also saw that you write another book, The Black Hood by Dark Circle, and you have a section in there called, I believe it's American Crime in Philadelphia.
Right, yeah. So the Black Hood, which is the comic Dwayne Swarzynski writes, published by Dark Circle, like you said. The in the back of the first 11 issues that they published, sort of in season 1 of this new incarnation of the Black Hood, because the Black Hood has been around for a while. They had sort of 2-page essays in the back of the comic book. And I wrote half a dozen of those on different topics. America's first serial killer, who did most of his work, so to speak, in Chicago, but wound up being captured in Philadelphia. One about a really bizarre murder ring in Philadelphia that was fascinating to dig into. These people used arsenic to kill at least dozens, maybe hundreds of people. And part of it was an insurance scam. Part of it was that they would try to get wives who were mad at their husbands to do this, and they would pitch it as kind of a witchcrafty sort of thing, like, give this to your husband, either it will cure him of whatever, bad personality traits he has, or it will kill him. Either way, you're better off. And
So you said the insurance scam.
Yeah.
Were they like the beneficiaries of those policies?
exactly right. This was back in the day when who could be a beneficiary, the rules were a lot looser than they are now.
So in arsenic, if I'm not mistaken, from the Sherlock Holmes storyline, untraceable.
It was very hard to trace back then. Very hard. It took really cutting edge forensic type work to finally crack the case and convict some people. And
Oh, they got some people then.
they did get some people in the end, but it really turned on the forensics were just at the early stages, and it really turned on witness testimony. But the crack to get to the witnesses was to convince them that they knew these other things from scientific study and whatnot. But so today, I think you can tell pretty easily if somebody dies of arsenic
Oh, yeah,
poisoning.
they have those
But-
tests. That's one of the first ones, right?
Right,
Well,
but back
the-
then,
the-
not so much.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is so cool. This is like what they did in the Fade Out with the true stories at the end.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite crime that you researched in those essays that you wrote?
Boy, probably I'd say there was one I wrote about political corruption in Philadelphia, and
happened?
it's shocking but true. And I worked for the state senate in Harrisburg for about 18 years, and still work in the Capitol complex. So I'm fascinated by politics, and it was just mammoth, widespread corruption all through city government. This was in the 1950s, I want to say, and it was the very end. Republicans had basically run Philadelphia from the Civil War up until this time, and it ended when the first Democratic mayor of Philadelphia was elected. And then, of course, since then, it's been all Democratic mayors. So it sort of was like flipping a switch and completely different. But anyway, the corruption wound up, how it started unraveling was that one of the people who participated in it, and it was blackmail, it was cops being involved in illegal gambling at restaurants and bars and taverns in the city. It was, fire inspectors going out to businesses and saying, hey, you need to pay us $50 or whatever for your fire inspection. And it was just a lie. It was, it was just a scam. But a guy committed suicide and left a note behind that said, hey, here's what's going on. Everybody in the office is doing it except for the secretaries. They're innocent, but everybody else is doing it. And that's what really started to, that was the thread that started unraveling the whole thing. It was crazy.
That's interesting. So they can go and get that article that you wrote.
Yeah, that's in one of the issues of the Black Hood. It's
Yeah.
going to be also included in a book of short stories that'll be available in September
I was
of
going
this
to
year.
bring that up. Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, so that's called The Throes of Crime, and I'm going to put all 6 of those essays in the back of that book as well.
Because I was going to
I'd
ask
love
you,
to
was
read
there
that.
going to be a compilation of the crime in Philadelphia in a own book?
Yeah,
So to speak?
my 6 will be. There were 11 issues. The other 5 essays, I don't know. There's been some talk about a graphic novel collecting the first 11 issues of this new run of the Black Hood. I don't know where that stands, but I hope they would include them in there too. But I don't know where that stands.
So basically, after this guy committed suicide and all this
Yeah.
unraveled, so all the political corruption stopped then, pretty much, right? 'Cause
It changed.
Oh, it changed. Okay.
All
It
of that
evolved.
political corruption
It
stopped.
It evolved.
It evolved. Yeah,
It
they got
evolved,
it got.
that's right.
Well, I'm not saying anything these guys are. I don't want to get shot.
Well, yeah, I always, like I said, we were talking off camera earlier about the Ed Brubaker's Fade Out, and
Oh,
they have the essay
so good.
parts on there. And usually
Love
when
those.
that ties into the stories, it always gives you a little bit of interesting fact, or if this, depending how the stories are made, as in Fade Out, it ducktailed into everything that they were doing. So it's very interesting stuff.
Yeah, something to look forward to. And when you get it out, let us know so we could tell our 9 fans.
Will
We
do,
might hit
will
double
do.
digits soon. We're fingers crossed.
Will do.
Fin-
You're on the right road. I
Yeah,
think.
we're trying. Well, we're getting famous people like you in to get the word out about us.
You're already about 5 times more fans than I have. So,
Really?
yeah.
5 times more? Wow. Well, hey, we'll take it. I mean, we paid dearly for that. Do you think we nailed this episode?
You have anything else you want to
Want
add?
to add?
Now, you talked about Ed Brubaker a little bit. I mean, his stuff is just so good. Anybody interested in crime comics at all who hasn't checked out Ed Brubaker's work on Criminal, The Fade Out,
Exactly.
Fatale, Velvet, they're so good. Absolutely, run out and get those right now.
Captain America. That's why I
Absolutely
love
true.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
But yeah, you can also, if people want to find out about your stuff, I know you're on Facebook and Twitter.
Right. Yeah, and the easiest way to find me is it's just my name, Erik Arneson, on Twitter, at Erik Arneson. ErikArneson.com has links to everywhere you can find me.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook.
And if you have any comments, please leave them in the box below.
Erik, thank you for talking with us this evening.
Yeah, great fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.